Peepla the Purple Butterfly here, otherwise known as Peepla7 on Twitter and YouTube, and Peepla elsewhere on the internet. And my blog is located at purpleButterfly-peepla.blogspot.com. And I'm freeforming my hair, and I want to come in with a couple of braiding tips for you. But first, I'm going to tell you what freeforming is. Freeforming is when you put a random braid, like this one here was my first one, and you run your hair, and then all the other braids form around it without a plan, without a parting pattern. You just braid and go. Okay? Freeforming, even though it doesn't have a parting pattern, it does have, shall we say, strategies. So that way all the hair is integrated and there's no scraggly hair, just this one stuck out in the middle of nowhere and that one didn't have a plan. So first thing you want to do, okay, my hair has been moisturized and sealed with cream C. Look in the other video, you'll know what that is. And that makes it slippery when you're working with it. But I also take, before I do any of the braids or when I feel that it's starting to wear off, and I put some olive oil on my hands, making sure I get my fingers before I even touch my hair to braid it. That way, it slides right through. About once a month, I give my hair a good comb through, so I figure if I'm going to comb through it anyway, might as well go ahead and braid it. But, as you can tell, I got a couple of interesting parting patterns going on. And I got stuff clipped out the way, so that way it doesn't integrate into the braid I'm working on. But with the olive oil on my hands, I just kind of smooth down. And then when I start to braid, see if I can get close for you. I don't actually start with a braid, I start with a twist. That way there's no pull at the initial start of the braid on my scalp. And then when I braid, instead of pulling the way a lot of braiders do, which, come on, we've all been in that chair, it's not the most pleasant experience, I just twist into the braid pattern. And if I feel any resistance at all, that's when it's time to very gently comb out the strands. Point is, you want your braid to feel like it's literally floating on your scalp. You don't want a pulling sensation. Because the moment you wet your hair anyway, natural hair will start to curl back. It's going to pull tight anyway. So you don't want to add to that and cause, follicular damage by pulling. So I very gently braid on top. You could tell the braid actually moves because it's not tight, but it is secure. And for some braids, like if it's a bigger braid, I literally just stick the comb in and braid on top of it. So that way, see the comb? It rises that much from the scalp. So that way, I don't have to worry about that pulling sensation later. You always want to leave your hair enough room or use a riser so that way your scalp can breathe. The point of protective styling and protective braids is to protect your hair while you allow it to rest from daily styling torture. So the process of putting it in really, really tight braids is a styling torture. Don't do it. Lighten that up, And then when I get almost to the end of the braid, I stop. There's about an inch left there. I'm just going to twist that around itself. When I add water, because my hair does do that curl thing, it'll do that. It'll spiral and lock itself in place. At that point, I might decide to put a bead on it or a rubber band or just leave it alone. Now, I had separated a section out here. Nope, that's not the one. That's the one. So this one can go back over here. This one here is a place marker because the pattern is going to go this way and this way. So I just want to show you how I float the braid and get started. And give it a try sometime when you know, your usual or standby braiding patterns are just not doing it for you. You want to try something new, just start a random braid anywhere in your head and work the braids around it. I'm going to show you this side. Well, first I'm going to anchor this one out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Let's anchor that. I'm going to show you over here. Let me fill it first. Oh, well, I stuck that one right away so you can't see. Okay, this braid right here was the first braid I put in. And then all the other ones went around it in various different patterns. And don't worry, like when you make an angle, if you're curving the braid and part of the, you know, hair is going over the parting pattern, the parting pattern is going like this, because it just makes for an interesting effect. That's why they call it freestyling. Well, some people call it free-forming. I call it freestyling because I basically let that single braid that was free-form style the rest of the hair. I'll be back with an update after I'm done. It'll probably be tomorrow or the next day because I learned a long time ago, take your time when you're doing this. Just get yourself one of these or, let's see, a galet or a scarf or whatever and cover it up when you go out. And then when you reveal, hey, your hair was like that the whole week? Yeah. In various stages, but you know, yeah. And if you're going to eat a snack while you're doing this, dish it up. That way you could just chug your chips. That way you don't mess up your hands. I know Grippos. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Grippos are big here. Some people say, I've never heard of them. Well, apparently past the Mason-Dixon line, they're not available. Every now and then I ship some to my daughter in a big old case, so that way they can have Grippos in Georgia. But if you're ever in Cincinnati, give them a try. The barbecue are the bomb. If you happen to be allergic to pepper, give some Grippos anyway because they don't use pepper. They use paprika. They use a bunch of different spices that are not pepper. So you can still eat it and you still get that bite that pepper gives you. Anyway, I'm not making a commercial for them. I'm doing my hair. So this has been People7 on Twitter and YouTube. People elsewhere on the internet, purplebutterfly-people.blogspot.com is where my blog is located, and pictures of the hairstyle that are currently progressing. And the finished hairstyle also will be there as well. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. That's it. Bye now.